The negative side argues that the major issues is that the majority of citizens do not want drilling to happen in Anwr. Secondly, that the dependency on oil will not allow the furtherance of alternative technologies, and that wildernesses and animals will come to some sort of loss if there was such drilling. Well, there's an interesting issue of workability that exists with the negative side statement that money should be put into the alternative energy research and not opening Anwr. Yet, the vital funds which will be made by drilling the 1002 Anwr site will greatly facilitate such research by providing the necessary funding. It is advantageous for the American government and people to be mindful that fossil fuels are an inexhaustible resource and that alternative fuel research is important. But without the funds which Anwr drilling will provide, the fruition of such technologies are far from being realized. The National Defense Council states that in June 2003, the United States imported 65.5% of its crude oil and refined products, with 18% of imports coming from the Persian Gulf. Anwr production could replace more than 70% of the oil imported from the unstable region. Alaska natural gas production could be at least 1.1 trillion cubic feet per year to the United States natural gas supply. So there is no question that there is a wealth of resources in this area. To support that, the Anwr.Org website states in 2007 that the United States imported an average of 60% of its oil. That equates to over $330 billion in oil imports. So we see that that money which is spent in buying and importing oil from other areas could be greatly put to use in making these alternative resources a reality. It is to be understood that Anwr drilling is not a cure-all of sorts, but the money saved by not spending billions on foreign oil, in tandem with a newly rejuvenated job market and economy, would swiftly move the nation towards scientific research in alternate energy fields. Therefore, the disadvantage of deciding not to drill in Anwr is the fact that the American economy, which is steeply fixed in an economic depression, needs the funds which Anwr drilling would provide. Their second major issue seems to be that wilderness and animals and oil drilling cannot coexist. But how are we to define a national reserve? Well, the Arctic government of Alaska states that the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge was established to protect unique wildlife such as caribou herds and polar bears. But from my partner's information, we have already seen these herds are in great number and they are not being affected by the already established oil drilling. Secondly, the modern technology marvels that enable us to find any development in petroleum resources with no significant environmental impacts would ensure that we can recover all the oil that we've already discovered along Alaska's North Slope. And that is by the Eco-Imperialism website, which is concerned with such wildlife sustainability. And lastly, only the flat, featureless plains would be affected, and even the small portions of that 1.5 million acres set aside, only 2,000 acres of land would actually be developed for such oil drilling. So we see that by looking at the evidence, that there is no validity to the negative side's terms.